Most mornings, I left my house around 8 or 9 o'clock. By the time I came home, it was often close to midnight. Then I got up the next morning and I did it all over again. And this was my first year of retirement. It certainly wasn't the retirement I had imagined. Hello, friends. I'm Janine, and welcome to JC Lowe's Next Chapter. Today, I want to have an honest conversation about what that first year of retirement really felt like. Not just the relief of leaving a career, but what happened when retirement didn't give me the freedom I had expected. I didn't plan to retire when I did. I thought I would teach for a few more years, but my mother's health was declining and she needed more help than I could give while I was working full time. So in 2024, after 22 years of teaching, I retired earlier than I had planned. At first, I felt relieved. I was free from the pressure that came with teaching and all the duties surrounding it. I didn't have to spend my evenings preparing for the next day or live by bells or school schedules. I thought, now maybe I can finally slow down. But I didn't slow down. My days simply began revolving around something else or someone else. Most mornings, I drove to my mother's house and I spent the day with her. I made sure she had what she needed, but I wasn't there only to take care of practical things. I was also there to be her companion. Because after my father passed away, she had lost the person she had shared her life with for more than 60 years. And I didn't want her to feel alone, so I stayed with her throughout the day and often late into the night. When I finally returned home, I was tired in every possible way, not just physically tired. I was mentally and emotionally tired too. Even after I walked into my own house, my mind was often still with my mother. I was thinking about how she had felt that day and what she might need tomorrow. There was always something to consider. But before retiring, I had imagined my life very differently. I had always wanted to travel more. While I was teaching, my life was tied to a school calendar and a clock. I couldn't simply decide to take a trip whenever I wanted. I thought retirement would finally give my husband and me the freedom to go places and enjoy more time together. I had pictured spending relaxing days with my grandchildren. I thought I would have more time for my garden, my home, cooking, baking, all the things I enjoyed, but had often put aside. Instead, my mother became my entire focus. And I wasn't able to spend much time with my husband and my grandchildren because by the time I came home, I usually didn't have anything left for them. That was painful because they mattered to me too. I wanted to listen to them and be present for them. I wanted to laugh with them and enjoy our time together, but I was running on empty. Sometimes I was physically at home, but I wasn't fully at home. And honestly, there wasn't much left for me either. I didn't have the energy to think about what I wanted or what might make me happy. I was simply trying to meet the needs of my mother. That is a hard thing to admit. I loved my mother and I'm grateful I could be there for her. But honestly, caring for her required more of me than I had expected. And don't get me wrong, I appreciated our time together. And I never really showed anyone that I was exhausted, but I was. I was thankful that I had retired, but deep down inside, I felt disappointment that retirement didn't look anything like the life I had pictured. Wanting the retirement I had pictured, I don't think that means that I loved my mother less. For a while, I felt guilty about those mixed emotions. I wondered whether wanting time for myself made me selfish. But caregivers are still people. We don't stop having relationships, hopes, or needs of our own because someone depends on us. During that first year of retirement, I began to realize that I didn't know who I was outside of caring for other people. For 22 years, I had been a teacher. Then I moved almost immediately into caring for my mother full time. There was no pause between those two parts of my life. And I didn't have a chance to ask myself what I wanted retirement to become. I was too busy handling what needed to be done. And then my mother passed away in 2025. The routine that had filled nearly every day suddenly ended. There was no reason for me to leave my house early in the morning. There was no reason for me to stay out until midnight. There was no reason for me to think about caregiving. The retirement time I had dreamed about finally belonged to me, but it came in a way I never would have chosen. That freedom didn't feel exciting. At first, it felt empty. When one person has been your entire focus, it's difficult to know what to do when that person is no longer there. I was grieving my mother, but I was also trying to find my place in my own life again. I was trying to reconnect with my husband and spend more time with my grandchildren. I finally had time to pay attention to my own health and emotions. And that process has taken time. You don't spend years putting yourself last and then suddenly know how to make yourself a priority. You don't move from caregiving and grief directly into the happy, carefree retirement you once imagined. At least I didn't. I had to give myself permission to rest before trying to fill my calendar again and to heal. I'm still interested in traveling. I still want to experience new places with my husband and make memories with my family. But right now, I'm also learning to appreciate small moments. A quiet morning at home, cooking or baking because I enjoy it, not because someone needs to be fed by a certain time. Being with my husband and grandchildren, exploring new projects and learning new things. Those moments may not look like the retirement I imagined years ago, but they are helping me find my way back to myself. Looking back, my first year of retirement was one of the hardest years of my life. It wasn't restful and my time didn't feel like my own. It didn't belong to me. But it allowed me to be with my mother during the final season of her life. I'm grateful for that, and I don't regret that time. I'm also honest about what it cost me. I don't believe telling the truth about the difficulty takes anything away from the love. If anything, it shows just how much love was required during that season. Maybe you're retired and immediately became a caregiver too. Maybe you expected time for for travel, your spouse, your grandchildren, or yourself, but someone you loved needed you. If your retirement didn't begin the way you imagined, I would love to hear your story. What did that season require from you? And when it ended, how did you begin finding your way back to your own life? Please share what you feel comfortable sharing in the comments. Your experience may help another caregiver feel understood. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If you value honest conversations about retirement, caregiving, grief, and finding yourself after years of caring for others, I hope you'll subscribe and join me here at JC Lowe's Next Chapter. I'm grateful I could be there for my mother, and now I'm learning that I'm allowed to return to the life and the people who had to wait for me, including myself. I'll see you in the next video.